Hi viewers, today's topic is pensions. Some of you might think that it's not relevant to you to start saving for a pension, or you can't afford to do it yet, or you're already enrolled in your workplace pension scheme and so having a separate pension that you contribute to is not for you. Let me assure you, you couldn't be more wrong. Stats for pension savings have improved, but they're still pretty dire. Most of us won't have saved enough by the time we get to the age of 68 or whenever our state pension is going to kick in. Certainly we won't have accumulated enough to fund our retirement by the time we actually want to retire, which for most of us is probably around the age of 55 or 60. Pensions have had a bad rep in the past, but regulation has made sure that they are now products that you can trust your money in. They're invested in funds, so obviously you have to be happy with the amount of risk that you're taking in those investments. And if you have a pension but you don't know where it's invested, that is your first port of call to find out if you're happy with the risk profile of the investments that your money is invested in. A lot of us rely on our state pensions when they come around, but state pensions might look very different by the time we come to claim them. For me, I'm age 32 currently. I can't get hold of my state pension until I'm 68 years old, and that keeps getting changed and pushed back each time the government review it. So we can't rely on that money coming into play when we think it might do so. By the time it does come around, I might have to wait till I'm 70 or older, or the state pension might be a very different kind of animal by then. The national insurance contributions that I've been paying towards my state pension, I might not see back in the same way that state pensions are funded currently. It might be that state pensions are a lot smaller, or they're paid a lot later, as I've already said. So although we need to bear in mind that we hopefully will get some sort of benefit in our retirement, we can't pin all our bets on the state pension alone. And although it's a very generous amount, at the moment it's about £8,500 a year if you have your full national insurance contribution record, for a lot of people that will go a long way to help fund their retirement, but not everyone will be entitled to the full amount. And if you don't know, that's something that you should check. Workplace pensions has come a long way to help people invest in pensions who perhaps thought that they didn't need to before. If you're working for an employer and you meet the minimum requirements, then you should be paying and your employer should be paying into your workplace pension. If you don't know the details of these, then you should be able to get that from your employer, so please do ask them if you want to have a look and you want to know where your money is being invested and what the charges are on these policies. But workplace pensions alone aren't enough to fund your retirement. Even if you can just afford to put £25, £30, £50 a month into a pension of your own, or if you can afford to top up your workplace pension, then it's very advisable to do so. You can benefit from tax relief, tax-free growth within the fund, and there are lots of other ways that you can fund your retirement, but you need to think about it early doors, otherwise it can get too late and then it's too late to do anything about it. Another thing people think will mean they don't need to think about their retirement is an inheritance. Now, I'm sure many of us, are somewhere in the back of our minds, realise that we might be getting an inheritance at some point, but we forget that our parents may well need to use that inheritance money to fund their own care fees. If they get elderly or infirm, then they may need to very well go into a nursing home or a care home, and those fees can be astronomical, around £40,000 a year, and that only increases year on year as time goes on. So don't pin all your bets on having an inheritance that you think will fund your retirement, because it might just not happen, or it might be vastly reduced from what you think it will be. Not only that, but do you know what your parents' will says or your grandparents' will says? For all you know, they may well have assigned their money to go to charity or to be left to somebody else. So again, don't pin all your bets on this one income source. So if you think that you need to look more at your pensions, or you want an idea of how you can save better for your retirement, or perhaps you want to explore some other saving vehicles for retirement, get in touch and let me know how I can help you.